Alright, can you guys hear me? There we go. Alright. Wait. I gotta do my Bane joke.
No one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
This is not a nothing burger, guys. This is pretty serious. Corona Chan is causing damage. It's causing damage. So we're gonna go through this. Hello, folks. Your host, conductor of the American Rail Club. It is Demetrius Villa. How's it going? Happy Sunday. Happy New Week, everybody. Happy February the 16th. 2 days after Valentine's Day. I hope you guys had great times with your girlfriends. But I mean, we like trains, so we don't have girlfriends. At least that's what they keep telling us. It sounded like Mitch McConnell in that mask. Well, I needed the turtle suit, too. Alright, let's go through this again. Hello, Dan Air. Hello, Joseph. Hello, Ruiz Railroad. Hello, Highcast. How's it going? Hello, Gecko. Hello, Nicholas. Hello, Memorized Visions. Hello, FR. Great to see you all, everybody. Welcome aboard. So we got a couple of things we're going to be going over today. First of all, like I said, things have been quite hectic in my neck of the woods in terms of work and in terms of personal life, but you know, as it goes, there's ups and downs in life, and once you get those in order, finally I can be able to focus on this. And we got a couple of things I have planned out. First of all, again, that video that I've been saying about California and going against the FRA, that's going to be coming out Tuesday. Finally got that settled in, finally got that scheduled, so hopefully we'll get that going. We also got the myths of railroads coming out as well, hopefully by the end of the month. I got the script almost done. We got a couple of other, so I have here on my whiteboard over here, a couple of things settled out for this month and the next. One of them is going to be talking about personal transit and scooters. So there's a couple of articles that have been coming out and a couple of studies saying that these personal transit systems, like these rent-a-bikes and scooters and all these other type of rentable personal transportations are not really making any money. So they're wasting time, they're wasting money, and they're causing clutter. Why is that happening? So we got a couple that we're looking at, including Lime scooters, and also in Indianapolis, they're getting rid of the electric car rental service, which is called Blue Indy, by next month. So we're getting renting one of those before they take them all away, which will be quite funny. Okay, if the Discord's link's not working, Highcast will get you another link, so hopefully we'll get that good. Someone says it'll take a nuclear explosion to clear the virus worldwide. I don't think so. So again, let's talk about this and let's get going. Yes, another couple things we're talking about in March. BRT, Bus Rapid Transportation. As the weather starts to clear up, we'll go ahead and take a ride on the red line that they've opened up in Indy back in last September, as well as take a look at rail trails. We're taking a look at the New York MTA versus Tokyo Metro, so that's going to be pretty exciting, and a couple other things. And again, I know some people have been talking about when I'm going to upload on my personal channel. I've been saying I was going to upload on my personal channel for the longest of time. I will get that done out finally. We got the script done for that, and again, it's been tough at work. As you guys know, if you have school, if you have work, life sometimes takes over and you don't have time to focus on your other hobbies like your YouTube channel, especially with something like this that's important. It pains me every single day and every single week I don't get something up on here, so I do feel you guys, and hopefully we'll get there. Yeah, Amtrak does need to change suit. I do have another book coming in from Amazon about Amtrak. Let me see if I can bring up the order over here, because again, like I said, I read a whole bunch of books to try to learn about more of the situation and see if we can be able to find more solutions. So the book it's coming in this week. It's called End of the Line by Joseph Ranich. So if anybody has read that one, let me know what you think about it. The Failure of Amtrak Reform and the Future of America's Passenger Trains. So that's what the book looks like. I got it on Friday, and that should be coming in pretty soon. We'll be doing some more info on that. Let me see if I can put... If the message keeps getting retracted, let me know. All right, so let's talk about coronavirus because again, this is quite talking about coronavirus. Alrighty, here we go. Get prepared, everybody. Get prepared. By the way, this is a mask that I've had for a long time. This is not, I just bought it. I did not buy this just for coronavirus. I use this when I'm cleaning my car, cleaning the house, dusting it off and whatnot, and vacuuming because I do put like some powder on the floor and before I vacuum it up, so keeps my lungs clean, and guess that's going to find some other uses too. So the China quarantine, this is an older article, but if you guys have been keeping up with coronavirus, this isn't getting any good at all. So let me see if I can put this in view over here. So total deaths right now is 1773. Total recovered 10,081. And again, once the World Health Organization went in, this just spiked up. That is not good. And again, this is really affecting travel in China and around the world, and it is affecting the economy too, which will affect rail. So that's why we're talking about this, because it affects, not just affecting health of everybody else, but it's also affecting the markets. Again, you have entire cities under lockdown. You have, we don't know what's going on over in China, because again, they do lie about a lot of things. So we don't know if the numbers coming out are right. Now, they've lied about their GDP. They've probably put it up by 2 percentage points just to lie about it. So again, we don't know what's going on, and this is not good. High-speed rail has been shut down in a couple of areas. Wuhan is a hub for several major high-speed railway lines, I'll read this part, that link it to China's major cities. Beijing is 4 hours away by train, while it takes 4.5 hours to reach Hong Kong, and Shanghai is almost 6 hours away. Around 700,000 people used those trains during peak travel season, such as the Lunar New Year holiday, which started back in that time. China has increased the holiday season. So this hasn't been good at all so far. And again, this does affect, if you look on here, this is one of the websites I visit to get industry news, Freight Waves. Everybody's freaking out about it. And they should be, because again, this is not something that is just the flu, bro. It's not just the flu. It's not a nothing burger. This is pretty serious. Hello, Grambo. You haven't missed too much. We're just getting into coronavirus right now. So again, look at all the articles that are coming out of here. What happens if coronavirus begins affecting cargo ship crew? Today's pickup oil demand growth forecast cut over coronavirus outbreak in China. Will coronavirus hike rates for backhaul U.S. to Asia cargoes? And again, it's affecting cargo. It's affecting air cargo. And if you don't get air and sea cargo into the country, you don't really get. You're not going to be able to move freight railroad. So this is quite disastrous of where this is going. Now, will this be able to clear up? And I have done some studies, and I looked into how the Spanish flu affected the U.S. economy. And it wasn't by that much. Again, it's from what most experts are saying and from what I'm seeing, this may be a bad blip. And then afterwards, the economy will hopefully by a year or a year and a half or so be able to go as if nothing happened. But again, if things start getting worse with the coronavirus, and if it looks like if it was some sort of bioweapon that was let out and let loose, things will get worse. Look at this. Cummins reports weak Q4 results amid uncertainty over coronavirus. Which I don't know why they're saying that, because coronavirus came out after Q4, so they're lying about something else. I know them. I've been there before. Slowing Chinese demand due to coronavirus hits oil prices. So this isn't good when the economy is either contracting or what's going on. And again, this is pretty bad. Yeah, I gotta make sure that I don't know why the leak. If the stream keeps buffering up, I don't know why. I know I paid my electric bill. I know I paid AT&T. Maybe I should switch to somebody else. This is not good. Google says don't say bad things about China. Yeah, maybe they're getting to us. Maybe that's why the stream is starting to, they're cutting us off. But yeah, again, this isn't good, guys. So just be careful out there. Make sure you take proper precautions. You know what they are, and keep up to date with this. Again, it's not good. It is not good. Speaking of China, let's go across the channel and talk about something else over here. So if any of you are familiar with HS2, a high-speed 2 over in the UK, this has been a project for the longest of time to connect parts of London all the way up to Manchester and Leeds into the UK in order to connect it with high-speed rail, because the only high-speed rail line or true high-speed rail that England has is between London and all the way to Paris via the Eurostar. But now with high-speed 2, this has been in plans for, I would say, for 15 years now that they've been trying to plan high-speed 2. If you think California, what's going on in California is bad, and again, we do have an article about this that we're talking about in terms of the continuing rising costs over in California. I told you guys, do not be surprised if this reaches $100 billion, because it probably will. It will reach $100 billion of cost, and it will still be cheaper than building roadways for the same capacity over in California. This is actually more expensive than what's going on in California for just this amount of rail. Just this amount. It's what, like 300 miles or so? About 100 billion pounds, or 62 billion pounds as they originally projected. So this is a plan that, this is on the article on the BBC, that they want to go ahead and look at seeing if China can go ahead and build a high-speed rail line, if they can just contract it out to CRH and do this. Now again, there's pros and cons to this. Yes, the Chinese can build high-speed rail pretty quickly now. It is probably very efficient in comparison to a lot of other countries building high-speed rail, and they have a pretty good track record when it comes to the speed of which they have built high-speed rail within their own country. However, in terms of safety, they don't get a good rap for safety. Now, again, to put it in perspective, the terrible crash that China had about 10 years ago with their high-speed rail line is still the only major one that happened, and even compared to cars and roads, it's still a lot less. It's still a lot safer. I would rather be on a Chinese high-speed rail line than in I-95 traffic in Miami, in South Florida. But, again, we know what's going on with China, so again, are they going to even be able to build this if, Corona Chan continues to power up over in China? I don't know. But this is just speculation of them being able to build this over in China. Again, I do apologize if the stream is buffering. I don't know why. We're going to have to check that for the next stream we do this. Let's read some of the comments. Dan Air said he'd boycott HS2 if China touches it. If you're in the UK and you think this is a bad idea, sound off on it. I don't know if you're in the UK, Dan Air, but let me know. What do you think about all this? Let the Chinese use those budget surplus for something good. I don't know. They may need it for what's coming, because a lot of people said this is gonna get worse before it gets better. Yeah, FR. I mean, there's good and bad to it. I mean, I would say 60% of what he's done has been all right for the country. But I mean, we do need more renewable energy. We need to get less of a dependence on other countries in terms of energy, especially for oil, gasoline. We can be able to extract that over here. We can be able to build, more nuclear power plants or more solar, anything to get us off of every other country's dole. Okay, so you're not in the UK. CP cities don't say. Yeah, I don't know if it's if this is intentionally. I don't think it is. Of what's going on with the keyframe frequency here. Yeah, I'm getting things I've never gotten before with YouTube streaming. I've usually never had a problem with this. Something is on. All right. So I don't know if the stream still on here if you guys still with me. But let's keep trucking along. So California's bullet train estimated cost rises by another $1 billion. So just to read the first paragraph here and to go into this, the estimated cost to complete California's high-speed rail line rose another $1.3 to $80.3 billion. While construction is on schedule to meet a 2022 deadline that would have about 20% of the track laid, according to a new business plan released Wednesday. Now, funny enough, again, this is the cost for the entire phases. Now, we know Governor Newsom said that they were truncating the California plan, that they were only going to focus on the Central Valley, and once that was done, they would go ahead and move toward the rest, which was connecting Los Angeles all the way up to San Francisco. However, with this now and the cost of construction is going up, this is again they haven't really gotten a firm grip in terms of who's in charge of what, where these costs are coming from, and really self-auditing themselves of where these costs are going, because we've already looked at this before. They've hired a dozen or so different analysts and contractors in order to do the same thing essentially, and to investigate which would be the best route for high-speed rail in California. So they're wasting a lot of time in this. And yes, I agree, they should have started in LA to San Diego. I did make a video about that. Thank you for bringing it up, Dan, because this is a problem. They should have started there. It's only going to bring more and worse. It's going to bring worse of I would just say, unviable news over to California, especially when they're building in the Central Valley, which is a highly conservative area. So again, you got a lot of bad eyes on this. It's not good. And even look at this. 5 Southern California Democratic legislators, led by powerful Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon, said in a statement that they are disappointed in the new plan and will insist that discussions include a proposed alternative that provides for early service investments in other high-speed rail corridors while also continuing work in the Central Valley. So this I do agree with when it comes to this. Let me go ahead and move this over here so you guys can see. So what they're planning to do is at the same time, look, if they're going to spend all this money, at the same time, while they're building the Central Valley, go ahead and build Los Angeles to San Diego, or go ahead and build San Francisco over to Bakersfield and all these other all these other cities. Why can't they just go ahead and do it? So, again, I have done video on the FRA and versus California, that the California High-Speed Rail Authority has basically ignored the FRA's calls to say, well, we need to go ahead and look at your new proposal for request for procurement on who's going to be building the actual physical track system on top of the concrete slabs and pylons that California has already built on there. So they had, again, construction for the concrete. Now they're looking construction now for the actual rail that will be placed on those systems. So the FRA says, no, we have to go ahead and look at the procurement. California High-Speed Rail says, forget you guys, we're going to go ahead and do it. So, and looking at that, we also compared the cost to how much it would cost California next 15 years to build new roads for the same capacity that high-speed rail would actually go ahead and move this. It would cost about close to $150 billion for roads in California to do the same thing that high-speed rail will do. So even comparing $100 billion, let's say this balloon's $100 billion versus $150 billion, this is still the better deal. It's still the better deal. So it makes no sense. And there was another article that we have put onto that video that, they did expansion on the roads over in California. It's only caused more traffic. So again, they've spent $1 billion in road expansion and road lane expansion, and it's only just causing more traffic. Again, it's called the law of induced demand. The more you build, the more people are going to use it, because you're not giving them another choice, you're not giving them another option of being able to travel around. We've said this so many times. So funny enough, it was initially projected to cost less than $34 billion when completion of the entire project was expected by this year. So, again, this is it's upsetting to see this happening, especially since we have in Florida, the plan's already done. It's moving on, and there's no argument about cost or anything like that. It's because it's by a private company over by Virgin Trains and Virgin Brightline. This is probably worse, what's going on over in the UK, because again, they've done this, I would say, longer than the phases they've done. This is going to be, look at this, phase 1 to be completed by 2028 to 2031, 2035 to 2040, and this is less. This is less than what's going on in California. It's easier to build through in the UK. It's more hills and valleys. It's not as mountainous or as much of challenging of a terrain as California. So again, it's very urbanized. That's definitely true. But this is ridiculous that it's ballooned up to this mess. And that's the unfortunate part. When these projects are taken over by government municipalities, it just gets worse. Because again, they take the money, they move it to somewhere else. It gets mismanaged, and they don't care. They really don't. It's not about really serving people. It's really about serving themselves. Yeah, the buffering's getting really bad, guys. Let's check some of the comments over here. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can change some of the settings over here. Yeah, again, guys, my sincere apologies for what's going on with the buffering. This isn't good. Let's see if this works. All right, let's hope this works. Let's see. Okay. Okay, it seems we're getting green over here. No, it keeps going on up and down. Okay, guys, we're gonna do this. The stream hasn't been going on so well. Let me know if you guys can hear me. We'll do this. Let's take a vote. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should we continue this live stream or continue it tomorrow? Press 1 for today or put 2 for tomorrow. And we can get it fixed, and probably we'll put ahead and put some stuff. Let me know what you guys think. 1 if you want to continue the live stream for today. Put a 2 in the comments below if you want to put it for tomorrow. Okay, you can't vote 3. Come on. Alright, so it seems like the ones have it. We have 4 ones. Okay, wait a second. 2, 2, 2, 1. 2. Alright, 10 seconds. And we'll see what it is here. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's count this up. Am I in an area with bad internet connection? No, actually. We have pretty good connection over here in Columbus, Indiana. This is the same place where I've been doing it before. All right, so let's count this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 twos. Alright, I'll do this. We'll go ahead for 10 more minutes. We'll do another live stream tomorrow. So let's make everybody happy. I'll continue on for 10 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and do another live stream for tomorrow, if that sounds good with you guys, okay? I know, but the internet here hasn't been working out so well. So yeah, you actually win out in this. You get 2 live streams. You get to see me today and tomorrow, guys. Hello, Darkside Studios. How's it going in Tampa? I was there last year. The weather was pretty nice. It's nice and cool. I was there for a friend's wedding. All right. So let's finish this up. When it comes to California, the authority continues to hope billions will magically appear. So this is pretty funny. This is Assemblyman Jim Patterson, who represents Fresno. One of the project's harshest critics cited Democrats infighting over available money. So again, this is both ripping apart both Republicans and Democrats. Republicans are going to be against this because they see this as a Democrat plan. If it was a Republican who went ahead and proposed this and pushed this forward, they would have been on this. But because it's Democrats, they're going to be against it. And, mostly they're against spending on railroads because they see railroads as some sort of communist plan to destroy America, when in fact roads have been doing that pretty well, keeping us trapped in crumbling infrastructure that we have to pay for billions of dollars every year to upkeep and maintain, and they won't even upkeep and maintain it the same way. So tomorrow, in fact, I'm actually going to talk a bit about road technology and why we're wasting so much money on it. So Adam asks, how is Amtrak doing with high-speed rail besides the Northeast Corridor? Some progress is being made in some U.S. cities. Now, again, they're not going to be moving the Avalia to different places outside of the Northeast Corridor, since the Northeast Corridor is the only one that's electrified. What they are doing for places like the Midwest and other places is introducing the Siemens Chargers, the same diesel trains that Brightline is using currently in South Florida. Then these trains are capable of going 125 miles an hour. They're a lot smoother than the old GEs, so they're pretty good. If there was a high-speed rail line from Indianapolis to O'Hare, Indiana would not have to subsidize the Paris flight. It's indeed true. I mean, they could subsidize, look, and again, I've mentioned this before, look, in a perfect natural system, these would come up by private companies and they'll be doing it. But in our system in the United States, it's a pseudo slash, socialist system where, we spend money or we pay money in taxes. The government takes it and decides to go ahead and push out plans, whether we vote on it or not. A lot of this is going to assume itself into roads or into air transportation because those are the two biggest lobbies for transportation in the United States. It's just the way that it is. Yeah, I don't know why some messages keep getting retracted, but it's just happening. What is holding Indiana back when it comes to high-speed rail? A lot of that really comes to, I think, the politicians over in Indiana. Again, it's really business as usual anywhere, in any other state, but a lot of it has to do is that Indiana, funny enough, Indiana has been ahead on a lot of things, but also behind a lot of things. It's a very weird state because it really represents what America is doing on the whole. Again, it wants to be forward, but it's also staying behind. So Indiana was actually one of the first states to go ahead and get a private company to run an Amtrak line that ran the Hoosier State between Indianapolis and Chicago. And then it stopped that after the state wasn't going to subsidize it anymore and paid the private company as contractors to run the Hoosier State. But actually the Hoosier State line, when it's run by Iowa Pacific, it was actually faster, it was actually cleaner, it had more amenities than Amtrak, and a lot of people recommended it more and enjoyed it more than riding on Amtrak, funny enough. So again, private companies, when it comes to operations of high-speed rail lines and rail lines, tend to do better than when it's run by the public sector. Now, that's, my views, but also a lot of views that I've been reading up on, too. Again, you can look at Japan. We're also going to do this when it comes to comparing the New York Metro line to the Tokyo Metro and comparing how a private company and public operations, how they differ and contrast, what are the benefits, what are the cons. Because, again, a lot of people think that it's not about this. They think it's, if the government can be able to spend a lot of money and be able to make high-speed rail, this would happen. And, yeah, certainly if the government were to be able to do it, but it does not have the will. And Indiana represents that in terms of the United States. The country, states, do not have the will to go ahead and make this happen. So let me also go ahead and announce something over here. So if you guys see this, if you are part of the High-Speed Rail Alliance, which was formerly the Midwest High-Speed Rail Association, they are having their annual meeting on, there you are, it's going to be on the March 28th from 9 to 3 p.m. at Maggiano's Banquets in Chicago. So if you guys are in Chicago or looking to go to Chicago on March the 28th, be there because I will probably be there myself as well. I may speak this year. I'm still trying to think about what I'm going to speak about this year. Maybe I'll bring up some myths of high-speed rail or something else. But yeah. Ryan Fairley, he's pretty correct on this. Lots of GOP hates any rail, though, public or private. Yeah. And I've been looking at... Funny enough, I have Randy O'Toole's book. Of course, I bought it used. I'm not going to give that tool any money. But he wrote a book called Gridlock. And I have a lot of highlights all throughout the book and some bookmarks and everything. But he says why we're stuck in traffic and what to do about it. Funny enough, he has a whole section here of why rail won't work. But if the government can go ahead and spend more money on roadways the correct way, let's just go ahead and spend it the same way we're doing already, and it'll obviously fix the situation, right? The whole quote about insanity? This is basically the book, Insanity. So and these guys tend to be, they claim themselves as libertarians. That's the funny part. These people claim to be libertarians. That is a joke. And of course, he is a Koch brothers tool. Yeah, and then there's the other problem. So you have one side that's absolutely no about it, and then the Democrat side, usually they're all for high-speed rail, or that's what they say they're about, and then the money gets wasted or never gets done, and they never really work right. I mean, look what's going on in California. This is a complete mess. Not as bad as over in the UK, but this is, from our eyes and from our perspective here in the United States, this is bad. This is not good. So FR says we have a private company running here, a local train. They don't have the staff available because they had a bad calculation. And again, there's pros and cons to private companies running it. A lot of it could be also due that the amount of money that they get usually comes from the government, or they do get some sort of subsidy as well. Or the government does limit them in what they can and can't do in terms of laws and legalese, like, for example, what they have in the UK. So there's a book here by Christian Wolmar, Broken Rail, of how privatization wrecked Britain's railways. And again, a lot of it has to do with the way that government puts it out. If government has a hand in it, usually things can go bad. But again, doesn't mean that all governments are bad. Look at Japan and look at their railways. They can be able to do it. And again, maybe China, what they're doing. Maybe it's not a bad idea that they've been able to build up massive amounts of high-speed railway connecting, the whole span of that massive country and the amount of population that they have. But again, there's pros and cons to it. What is the price in blood that China paid in order to get this done? Well, what price will they pay off in the future? So that's the thing that we talk about. Again, a lot of it has to do with policy. A lot of it is politics with high-speed rail and rail in general. But what can you do about it, and how can you be able to balance that out? That's what we're here about. Hey, Ruben, you're here to crash the party. Do you think Amtrak would connect Detroit to Toronto in Canada? They should. They probably won't. Speaking of, let's talk about Canada. If you guys have been hearing about what's going on in Canada, this is not good either. So, Canada National and Via Rail, depending on who you talk to over there. Apparently, there's two ways to call it, Via Rail, depending if you're in Quebec or if you're not in Quebec. Protesters are blocking Canada Rail's network for more than a week. So this has continued on, if you guys have been keeping up with the news. They're blocking passenger freight railways in Canada. A blockade at Tyendinga, Ontario. I still can't pronounce it all this week. I think it's Tyendinga, Ontario. The railway said orders of the court to remove the protesters have not yet been enforced. So this is the funny thing. Again, Canada National and Via Rail are both governmental entities. The government of Canada has said to remove the protesters, and they have not yet enforced that. Why? Yeah, Canada is closed. So this is the problem over in Canada. Again, if a government is supposed to run this, then run it correctly. So, funny enough, these protests are going on. If you remember the Keystone XL pipeline, this is very similar to what happened with the Keystone XL pipeline over in the United States, but the Keystone XL pipeline is or has gotten built. The protests are in support of the hereditary chiefs of the Wet'suwet'en Nation, who say the coastal GasLink pipeline will bring environmental and cultural harm to the territory in British Columbia. And if it's anything like the Keystone Pipeline, a lot of it is just anarchists, or you have a lot of people like Antifa that are, going in. And I don't mean anarchists as in anarchists that are, actual anarchists, or, the nice type of anarchist that some people would think they are. No, it's your typical anarchist that is all for just causing destruction and harm. They're not really politically inclined. They're not really intelligent anarchists. So they're just there to cause chaos and mayhem. When people say anarchist, again, that's the connotation that most people get, and that's what you're really getting. It's just, Antifa-like protesters over there. And if you don't think I'm right about that, well, I mean, just take a look. A lot of reds and blacks. Gee, I wonder which protester group wears a lot of red and black. Things that make you think. Shoot, if you're a legit academic, that just means you're an establishment shill. That's Aaron Moser and Caps. Yeah, that's exactly the type of people. CN was privatized in 1995. Yeah, CN was privatized, yes, but there is still, Via Rail is still run by the government, though. So, again, and this is, I think it's, if I remember correctly, I think Canada Rail is also, partly owned by the Canadian government, 20%, I think. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember that. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. Please do. Yeah, so this is what I've said. So Ryan Fairley is completely correct on this. The Mohawk people have legitimate complaints to the Canadian government. These people blocking the rails aren't part of that. They're just exploiting the situation. And that's absolutely correct. A lot of these people are just coming in to go ahead and take advantage of the situation, and it's going to devolve. It already has devolved into something else. So that's why now Via Rail has been canceled, and people have not been able to move around the country. So Via Rail is actually, it's used a lot more than people would think it is. In terms of what we say Amtrak in the United States, because a lot of Canada's major metropolitan areas really are just connected by one line. It's not like the United States where everybody is spread out and a whole bunch of different regional clusters. In Canada, it's very simple to get around through a straight line in Canada. So let me go ahead and Via Rail map to show you how this looks over in Canada. So again, that's really what it looks like. Again, it's not like the United States. It's really just, a couple of trains, and this is all one straight line where you can be able to go to, from Vancouver to Kamloops, Jasper, Edmonton, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, Sioux Lookout, Ottawa. You got Toronto, Niagara Falls, London, Windsor, Montreal, Quebec. So, you have a whole lot of, from Halifax all the way over to Vancouver, Prince Rupert, you only have, basically this whole entire area that you have to connect. And these are pretty major metropolitan areas like Toronto, Ottawa, the London, Kitchener area, Quebec. These are all very, very populated areas. So what's going on over in Canada is causing a big disruption here. So again, Via Rail announced Thursday will be canceling all passenger trains across Canada, across the whole entire country of Canada, because of these protests going on. So, no trains have been able to go through Toronto to Montreal network since last Thursday, but no possible resolution in sight, Via said in a statement. Has no other option than to cease service to the entire country. So that's not good. And again, in this article, for those of you who are in Canada or do know anybody in Canada, do let them know there are ways to go ahead and get a refund for your ticket, hopefully, because it's not good. Unfortunately, it's the only other way to get around. Greyhound, Megabus, and airlines. Looks like you're going to have to be using Canadian Airlines now to get around. So yeah, it's not good what's going on over there. Yeah, someone said here, Joseph Bendrinsky said, I think pipelines are better than armies of trucks on the road. So that's the thing. Really what they're talking about is about an oil pipeline. Really, what would you rather have your oil transported by? Would you rather have it transported by trucks on the road, by, hundreds of trucks on the road carrying flammable oil? It's dangerous. Or, having them on rails, which, again, it had caused a massive destruction. A massive accident was over in Canada one time because of oil tankers on freight railroads, and it caused massive damage to a town. I think about 40 people died because of that. Correct me if I'm wrong over here. But that's the problem with that. So, again, there's different ways to be able to get it. A pipeline works better for oil. Yeah, I mean, again, look, in a perfect world, we shouldn't be using oil at all, right? We can use a whole bunch of different methods in order to get energy, electricity, whichever way we can. Someone said over here, American Rail Club members, Charlie Lopez, Facebook between the United States and Canada is supposed to be friendship between Canada and the United States government. Now, it's not going to be as much because Justin Trudeau doesn't like our president very much. You can't blame him, and you can't blame President Trump for not liking Justin Trudeau, who, one day is in blackface, the next day he's Native American, the next day he's someone else. The guy has a lot of identities. All right, last article, and we're going to call it a night, guys. Again, not good stuff happening around the world, but here's some good stuff here. Good/weird/bad. New Jersey Transit is getting new rail cars, but it still has to spend $3 million to fix the old one. So if you guys have been on the good old NJT, you know about these the trains that they have over there. So they are getting new cars to replace the 40-year-old Arrow 3 cars, but almost 70 of those cars need an essential part replaced to keep them running. So they are getting some cars replaced. However, some of them still need to be in service. So that's why they're going ahead and still spending $3 million to fix the old one, which is really not bad. $3 million is not a big deal. Yeah, someone said talk about two-faced politician for Justin Trudeau. It's the current year, right? $3 million for 69 parts. Nice. Yeah. So again, it's not a bad deal. So I mean, yeah, it's true. If you were buying a new car, but you still had to sink money into your old car to keep it running until its replacement was delivered, that's the predicament New Jersey Transit is in. So yeah, look, a lot of companies do this, all the time. Let's say if you're a bus company or if you're a taxi company, you still have to keep your old fleet running while the new one's still getting replaced. Is it the best way of doing it? No. Would you rather these rail sets be able to hold up until the new train sets and come in a replacement? Absolutely, but you still got to run these lines. So $3 million, especially for the state of New Jersey, is not a bad deal. Where else would this money go to? Fixing some potholes on the road with a terrible method of just putting in some, crappy concrete and keeping it up there for another 5 years and then patching it up again another 5 years later. And someone said here, Aaron, New Jersey Transit is going to be the world's largest employer after all jobs on Earth have been automated. Oof, that sucks, David Mitchell. Some guy jumped off a moving Amtrak train 15 minutes from my house about 4 weeks ago. I hope he's all right. I mean, I know after a while on an Amtrak train, anybody would want to get out, but I don't think you want to get out that badly. Ryan Fraley said the problem Trudeau has is Canada is traditionally not a country where politicians direct police. They may have to charge with blockade. Yeah, and the Canadian Mounted Police, the Mounties as they're called over there, they're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive if they have to with these protesters. It's going to be a mess. It's not good either way. Yeah, the food can't be that bad on Amtrak, right? Oh no, Ruben, that's not nice. Imagine jumping out of an Amtrak train but ending up in California. Any way to jump right back in? Yeah, that would be good. Connecting Mobile to New Orleans, LA to the south. Yeah, that was the Sunset Limited. Rest in peace. All right, guys. The stream is starting to... It's holding up a bit better. But we'll go ahead and continue tomorrow with a couple more stories. And then we'll go from there. Again, if you want to hop on to Transport Central, go ahead and do that. Bring back the Gulf Wind. News on Texas Central Railroad. Yes, I will bring up some news tomorrow, Renell. I did have a couple of articles set to talk about that, but we're going to talk about that tomorrow. All right, last call for questions. And then we'll do another live stream tomorrow. I'll do a shorter live stream tomorrow since it seemed like it got better as the night went on. I'm not at all pleased with what's going on, though, with YouTube. I mean, we do, put a lot into YouTube, and they get a lot of money already with the service. So I don't know if it's YouTube or if it's on my side or what it is, but either way, something's got to get fixed. All right, everybody. Any word on the new sleeper betting? I haven't gotten any articles on that, but I'll definitely go ahead and look and talk about that tomorrow if you want, Frisco. All right, so just to recap, we talked about coronavirus, how it's affecting travel everywhere, how it's affecting the economy, how we'll continue to do this. What time tomorrow? We'll do this at 7 o'clock tomorrow, so be sure to come in. Now let me put this on the chat over here so you guys can be able to see. 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Now it's not letting me write. Okay, there we are. Whoa. There we are. Yep, East Coast time. Yes, here we are. 7 p.m. tomorrow. We'll go ahead and do this. So, again, we talked about Corona. We talked about High Speed 2 and the China connection. We talked about California and their rising cost of their bullet train again. And the protesters in Canada, as well as New Jersey Transit. So, some good stuff. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm glad you're able to join in. Again, I apologize so much for the bad video settings. But we'll go ahead and continue this tomorrow. And hopefully we won't have any interruptions of the sort. Have a good night. Take care. Be sure to take the proper precautions, everybody. It may just get bad out there. Good night.